Hey guys, welcome to my channel if you're new. Welcome back if you're one of my subscribers. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. So, things happen. Someone drives a car for well over a year. They're a new driver. I'm not going to say who, it's very obvious, but there's some damage on the other side of the car. Yeah, someone kind of drove over a curb and kind of ripped this off while I pulled it off, and then they damaged the fender. So I ordered replacement fenders, and yeah, they look amazing, except the problem is it had some slight damage. I know you think, no, this doesn't look like it has damage, but trust me when I say it got damaged in shipping. Look at this big dent, and then it's all crumpled in the corner, and then the corner's all crumpled. So I have a new set over here that I am going to unbox and show you guys, and then I'm going to go through the process of replacing these fenders. Check it out. Here is one. It is not damaged at all. Look how beautiful that is. This is the passenger side. So you have your clip pieces that are hidden, and then obviously the top holes pre-cut, and then the bottom where it slides in, and then these are where your side skirt pushes into. So this is the passenger side, which is the one that I'm going to do first. So let me sit this over here. And this one. And here's your driver's side. Absolutely beautiful. Come check this out. Look how nice that's going to be. That's going to be so nice. Alright, time for me to start taking stuff apart. So I have all these different tools to try to pry these out as opposed to not damaging them. But if you want to look, I have to remove this whole top piece to get to the fender. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pull pop clips. So I have to pop all of these out before I can pull this top piece off to access the fender. So it happens. I made a little bit of scratches. If you want to come look, I kind of thought I was prying this out when all I had to do was go like that, and it comes right off. So don't make the same mistake I did. There's also a clip right here that you have to pry off that I didn't show right here. So if you look, jack the car up, put it on a jack stand. Now I just got to remove these 4 little push clips. And then there's a screw, like a bolt here, and then there's a couple bolts. There's one like on the inside through the door that I have to open the door up to get to. And then, yeah, so I'll show those in a minute. So fun times. As you see, there are a ton of screws and washers that hold on the fender liner. I don't know if you necessarily have to remove it. It just makes it a little bit easier. So you just got to kind of sneak this out of there, and trying to do it without hitting the jack stand, which is kind of a pain because it's like the jack stand's like right in the way. But I'm gonna finagle this out. But like I said, you just all these screws, and it'll be good. I just gotta yeah, finagle this without the jack stand being in the way. So you might want to consider that as part of it. Is the jack stand does kind of sit in a weird way, as you see. So I got to finagle it without like dropping the car in my hand. See, there we go. Leaves, rocks, and junk that sit under there. But I thought this was going to be damaged, so I bought a replacement, but apparently not. So part of this is we're going to have to actually mark out, once we have the carbon fiber fender in, we're going to have to mark this out and cut some of this away because the new fender like goes inward. But you need this to be able to get to all the bolts and stuff underneath behind it. So yeah, and here's all the clips that I broke off, and I'll put whatever replacement part number that is in the video description. Yeah, I damaged it a little bit, like, but again, this is getting replaced anyway because it's messed up. Look, check the damage. So yeah, fun times. All right guys, so I had to use a chisel around this screw. As you can see, it has like a clay like sealant that they use, like a putty, whatever, and then they painted over it, and that is under here, and if you look, it still had that putty holding it. So like you have to chisel that away in order to like allow this to move freely to remove it. So yeah, that's part of it. Fun times. Don't know how well you can see this, but there's 3 of these that are pushed in. One's really difficult to get to, it's down there. Use some pliers and you just squeeze in. You just squeeze into these and then push and they'll come out, and then it just pulls right out. This is going to allow you access to that final screw all the way down there. That's the wrong way. We're going to flip that when we install the new fenders. So now I got to like move some stuff out of the way underneath to get to that bottom screw. So the only way I could do it was with a 10mm. I taped the door just to make sure I don't damage any of the paint, and I just kind of lean this a little bit away. And you can see the screw is still in there. If you look, there's very little space, so I kind of like got the socket, like not socket, but wrench in there, and like slowly loosened it and just pulled this away. And then now it's fully off. Now I can just drop this bolt. So when we replace this, the new one, we're gonna screw it in this way instead. That way you can just get a long socket with extensions, and you don't have to deal with that whole like barely fitting it in there. So now we can actually put the carbon fiber in. Oh yeah, excited. Windshield washer fluid. So when I was getting the bolt back here behind, I did unscrew this and pull this away temporarily to get that other middle bolt on this. And then that one I just reached in and just unbolted it. So yeah, fun times. So I took a Sharpie and marked out where I need to cut away. So I need to use a Dremel. And you can speed it up, slow it down, whatever. I'm gonna kind of go slow, but I'm gonna cut out where I Sharpied, and then obviously I'm gonna test fit it, and then if it works good, then we can put the fender back on. So, what a pain. So, the little clip that was on the fender, you need to remove it and slide it onto the metal of the actual car, and then screw through the fender into it. I didn't fully tighten it because it's carbon fiber, it needs to be stretched out a little bit, it needs to be finagled, and I need to screw that in first, which means I need to remove the screw for this windshield washer fluid to be able to move it out of the way to get behind there to get the other screw. So it's a challenge, but it's basically reversing. So it's hard to see, it's not lined up yet, but there's a screw hole behind. I need to move the windshield washer fluid reservoir to get the socket behind it to screw that other little middle piece in, but I gotta line it up first. So it's always the challenges. So you can see that lovely bolt. There's paint all around it, which is like painted over like a putty. So best thing I used, works really quickly, is scrape around the edge of the bolt with this and scrape it away, and you can get to the bolt really easily. really difficult to see, but down there, all the way at the bottom, all the way down here is a nut. And I'm using this 10 millimeter and slowly, because there's no room. That is the one that you're gonna flip over to the other side. All right, as you see, I took the clip off the fender and put it on the actual body, so that way you can use a long extension and screw that in. And then there's the other one you have to get to from behind, so that way it makes it easier. If you ever want to remove them again, it's much easier than having to try to go from behind in that little itty bitty gap they give you. So have it on. So one of the things that you want to make sure while you're doing the work is push this in so it sits flush as you're tightening the bolts down. That way it stays in there and it stays flush. That way later you don't have to like reach back behind again to loosen it, to push it in and then tighten it back down. So kind of push this in so it sits flush and then tighten them down. I have to redo probably the other side a little bit because it sticks slightly not off. The other thing that I learned is you want to put on the side skirt first before putting the fender liner in. That way these on the new ones are not exact perfect fit, so I had to do a little bit of like finagling with the drill bit, like that, those little push-in pieces where it pushes in. You want to do the side skirt first before, because if not, the side skirt might not line up perfectly. You might have to do a little bit of drilling of the carbon, kind of widen it out a little bit to make them fit. And then there's these little push clips, I'll have to show you in a second, that basically push in there, that hold it in place, and it's easier to do that while you still have this space behind to do so. And then these holes did not line up with the fender liner after I cut it on the other side. It might not on this side, we'll see, but this gives you an idea. So I don't know how well you can see that, but as you can see, the side skirt where it's supposed to, don't mind all that markings, it's just dirt. They don't line up exactly perfectly, so you kind of had to take a thin drill bit and kind of make them a little bit wider to the sides, because as you can see, where they line up is not exactly where they should be. So yeah, that's the fun of doing your own work, is you got to kind of finagle it a little bit to make it work, because it's not exact, and I want it to be exact. And I am done. You can see this side is a lot flusher than the other side. I might have to adjust that a little bit. It's just not as much of a gap here, but you get the idea. It takes a little bit of finagling. I cut this too far back on this side, but it is what it is. But yeah, carbon fiber fenders on both sides completed. All right, check it out. Nice, right? And then now it just needs more carbon fiber. Comment what you think. You think it needs more carbon fiber? What do you recommend me adding carbon fiber? And see if my wifey will allow it.